We'll go ahead and get started with the August readiness call. Today's topics will be the August 1st and 9/6 release highlights, a couple of reminders, and then we'll focus on some Phase 2 preparation items. A little more detail on what we're going to cover today. Part of the Phase 2 preparations will consist of auto denials, adding a program to a pending case, interviews, and clocks. So we're going to start with some updates from the August 1st release. So just a reminder that self-direct is processing some FFM applications now. However, if an application is received from FFM and it has an incomplete address, self-direct will not process those. Those will show up on my workspace with the status of FFM incomplete address. So in those situations, you would click on that link to continue processing that application. Something that's coming up for the 9/6 release that's going to be important for everyone to understand is a 4E foster care DCSE referral. So as you can see from the screenshot, this is going to be a new section in navigation. And this is going to be replacing the use basis for 4E foster care referrals. So through this functionality, you'll be able to create a new referral, edit a pending referral, and close an active referral. So who should be using this? This is intended to be used by either eligibility or service workers who currently perform this function daily. So just a reminder, there is no eligibility determination for foster care service in VaCMS. That will still be determined outside of VaCMS. There is, of course, the Medicaid foster care, which is still in VaCMS. But for those of you who had previously used or are using now VaCMS to refer foster care 4E children to DCSE, and you will start to use this instead. Now, for service workers, there should be a broadcast going out soon to let you all know about this new functionality. I think there's probably not many service workers on this call, but if you maybe could get out for that, and then if you are an eligibility worker and you have that role in your local department, just recognize you're going to need to start doing that in the VaCMS starting on September 6th. You will be able to retrieve existing and open and closed DCSE legacy case numbers through a search. And so anytime you are using this referral, you do need to make sure that you click on the magnifying glasses next to these DCSE legacy case number fields. That will then enable a pop-up box that will show search results for the individual entering. So if they have a legacy DCSE case number, they'll be able to pull that over. So that's very important for any individuals that you're adding referrals. A few additional points to keep in mind. This is separate from the absent parent and referral process completed in data collection for TANF programs. So you all might not be familiar with this yet. This is part of the TANF training, but when you're going through a TANF case, there is an opportunity through data collection to enter absent parent information and refer that. So if you're doing that, you don't also need to do this. This is separate from that. Child, him or herself, is the custodial party, the local department worker. Only one child can be referred at a time, and 2 absent parents can be listed on each 4E foster care referral. Once you submit the referral, it cannot be edited. And then finally, these are going to be sent over in a nightly batch. So if you enter 5 in a day, it won't be sent to there will be a new quick reference guide in the VaCMS online help on September 6th. So please refer to that to the process that you complete in your local department. Also, be on the lookout for a broadcast that should inform the service workers of this new feature. And now we are going to turn it over to Jessica Anacini for the Medicaid program to go through the next section of the call.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'll be going over the reminders section. And just to let you guys know, even though I am a medical assistance consultant, there is going to be information in this section that all programs can benefit from. All right, good morning, everyone. I'll be going over the reminders section. And just to let you guys know, even though I am a medical assistance consultant, there is going to be information in this section that all programs can benefit from. So first thing we're going to go over is Cover Virginia and closed cases. So there's been a number of requests that have gone up to Cover Virginia asking for closed cases to transfer back to the location. So we just wanted to go through a couple different scenarios so that way local agencies are aware of when they should and shouldn't be asking for those cases for Virginia. So one of the scenarios is if the case is closed and a new application comes in. When the case is associated, the transfer will occur automatically when the application is assigned to a worker. And this is regardless of location, and this is just like when an applies in one locality was denied and then applies subsequently in another locality some months later. The second scenario is if the local agency receives verifications for a case that is pending with Cover Virginia. So what the local agency needs to do in this scenario is send the information to Cover Virginia, set the case as denied or closed, because Cover Virginia needs to make the determination on the case. Do not ask Cover Virginia to transfer a closed or denied case to the local agency for processing if they were responsible for processing the information. Now, Cover Virginia does prefer that if you have verifications, you do upload them and encrypt them so you can send them via an email with a communication form. If that is not possible, then please send the information by fax. This number is actually on the communication form, and you can use that communication form as a cover page as long as it does not contain any PII. However, if you are sending those verifications late, please make sure you explain on the communication form the reason for sending those verifications late. The third scenario is if a case resides with Cover Virginia and the local agency does determine it needs to take action on the case. Now, this should be rare, but it can happen, such as you're trying to associate to a closed case and you're not able to do so. Or again, there may be other rare circumstances where you actually need to get a closed case or a denied case from Cover Virginia. If you do need to have this occur, send a communication form to Cover Virginia, and Cover Virginia will reassign the case to a local agency worker. Now, it does say on this that if they are in the same SIPs as the case, it can be transferred to the local agency regardless of the SIPs that the case is attached to. There just may be additional steps if the person requesting the case is not in the SIPs where the case currently resides. So it's not necessary that you have to ask for additional information to have the case transferred. You would just send a communication form with your reasoning of needing that case. So one tip we wanted to also point out with Cover Virginia is that you should always inquire on an application before sending a communication form to Cover Virginia. So to do this, you'll use Application Inquiry and click on the T number that results as a hyperlink to see if the application has already been converted to a case or has been associated to an existing case. We've noticed a lot that when workers are trying to access an application with the T number, you may come up with an error message showing that you need to contact Cover Virginia. However, if that T number has already been changed into a case number or was associated to an existing case, you will have to access that application in data collection case number. The last tip that we have for Cover Virginia is just to remind local agencies, and this right now is with pilot, but of course with phase 2 coming up, if you do have an application that comes in for SNAP and that application is expedited, you'll need to email Cover Virginia if they are the owner of the case that you need to associate to. Please do not fax the communication form to Cover Virginia to request an expedited case to be transferred to the local agency for processing. The way to get that transferred to you in the quickest way possible is to email the form to Cover Virginia. All right. the next topic we'll be talking about is updating information on closed cases. We received multiple questions on this functionality in the past few readiness calls, so we just wanted to go over this information again. As you can see, this is for all programs, so while this information was originally in the April release that allowed workers to update the information on closed and denied cases and case addresses on closed cases, we just wanted to reiterate this information for new attendees to the readiness call for Phase 2. So a note on this, that all associated cases for the client must also be in closed or denied status. The Update Client Information button will not be enabled if the client is on an approved or pending application case. Again, you can refer back to the April readiness call for more information about this. But if you do end up finding a client that you need to fix information on that is on an approved or pending case, you will need to work with that other local agency to resolve the discrepancy. Some more information about updating client information for closed and denied cases. Change to Social Security number, date of birth, or other information with verifications in data collection will be set to not verified as the existing verification is no longer valid. The workers will need to verify the information the next time the case is accessed. So for example, if you are taking out someone's Social Security number because it belongs to another client, that verification source will be changed to not verified, and the next person to go into the closed case will need to make a new verification. You do not need to rerun eligibility. You will simply save the changes on the client information page. And changes to client information will be published to CITR. So for example, because you're not authorizing any eligibility on these cases, for medical assistance, that means these changes will not go to MMIS. So if you do need changes reflected for a closed client in MMIS, you will need to take care of that change separately. The next topic we'll be going over is clarifying extended Medicaid procedures. There is a broadcast 9882 that provides clarification for the extended Medicaid process in VaCMS, information, follow-up codes, and MMIS. So I'm going to go over some of the information that was highlighted in that broadcast. First, the first run of eligibility after an increase in earned income and or spousal support. So if you look back at the December 2015 release, there were changes in functionality that stated that the worker had to complete the Medicaid coverage group screen in order to get a result of extended Medicaid in eligibility summary. There has been a change in functionality that VaCMS results may show extended MA even though the Medicaid coverage group page is not completed. If this result does show, the worker will still need to go back to the Medicaid coverage group page to indicate whether enrollment in extended MA is valid and then rerun eligibility. So regardless of the result in extended eligibility summary, the worker will need to complete the Medicaid coverage group screening, whether or not the customer is eligible for extended. That is the only way that you will get the correct result if it is eligible or ineligible. The second point of the broadcast is completing the end date field on the Medicaid coverage group screen. The end date field is editable on the Medicaid coverage group page for extended MA. Remember to update the end date on the Medicaid coverage group page when someone is evaluated for extended MA coverage. You may have noticed that the end date on the screen is now mandatory. It is no longer an optional field. When you're setting up the extended Medicaid, you'll need to indicate the end date as the last day of the last month in which the customer is potentially eligible for extended Medicaid. However, that end date will be editable, so if the customer does lose their extended Medicaid or becomes eligible for another coverage group, you can change that end date. The third topic of the broadcast are the follow-up date and codes and relationships with MMIS. So you need to verify that the correct follow-up code and date are in VaCMS. It is not necessary to verify the dates and codes in MMIS as all actions are completed from VaCMS. We do want to let you know that the dates and the codes are sent to VaCMS, but they are not deleted when someone ends extended or moves to another coverage group. However, it's not necessary to make sure that these codes are altered in MMIS because no auto-closure procedures happen in MMIS. Everything for extended Medicaid that happens automatically will be based solely on the information that's in VaCMS. A couple additional notes on extended Medicaid. Workers only need to complete this page for the LifeC parent or caretaker relative that is losing the LifeC coverage. The children will be placed in the correct covered group based on the income and relationship information and data collection. So previously, workers may have been completing the Medicaid covered group screen for every individual that would be moving to extended Medicaid. However, you only need to complete that for the parent or the caretaker relative that will be moving from LifeC to extended. One additional note that we found through emails and through troubleshooting tickets is that the QRG does currently say to click the Add button on the Extended Medicaid Earnings Status Report page. However, you have to click the Save button when you're adding information, and you also have to click that button twice. So that information is not in the broadcast, so I will repeat it again. The QRG does currently say on the Earnings Status Report page that you have to click Add. However, you actually would be clicking the Save button, and you will need to click that button twice so the information does save to that page. But again, refer to broadcast 9882, and that'll give you a detailed explanation of each item. And then the last reminder I'll be going over is the automated renewals, also known as the CMS waiver. On August 8th, the automated renewal run processed renewals due in October 2016 for medical assistance, and over 3,500 cases were renewed. Currently, these automated runs are for cases currently due for renewal, and those applicable cases will be renewed for 12 months from the existing MA renewal date if the SNAP case is active. Now, we do want to remind agencies that December 2016 will be the final automated renewal run, and that waiver is not being extended. So agencies will need to prepare for the increased number in renewals they may see based on the fact that the automated run will no longer be happening, and make sure that they are following ex parte procedures for Medicaid to ensure timely renewals. You can refer to broadcast 9891 for more information. Each time that broadcast comes out, an Excel report containing the list of cases that were renewed is posted to Spark at the link you see on your screen.
We're going to take a pause here before we transition to the Phase 2 focus slides and just see if there's any questions that we can answer. So everyone just hold on. You will hear some silence here for a minute or so.
I know that we received one question about the CP to get those verifications to them. The person asked if we can upload them to DEMAS and then send a communication form. I will go ahead and forward that along to Cover Virginia to see what they say about that, and the answer to that question will be on the outstanding Q&A document. We did also receive a couple questions about the QRG for extended Medicaid, and will it be updated to change the information, as I had said, about the add and the save buttons. We have recognized that the QRG does need to be revised. We are looking at that as well as the extended Medicaid functionality as a whole. So we are looking at revising that information. We don't have a timeline on that, but it has been noted that the QRG does need to be updated to reflect the correct information.